thought the world was ending for me. For anybody listening who might be going through some hard times, it was very difficult, but it ended up becoming the biggest blessing that I could have ever asked for.
Welcome back, guys, to the PokeRadar podcast. Today is episode 8. This is our 2-month mark of restarting the podcast. Today I get to welcome back another previous guest from the old times. Times have changed with this one, of course. I had him on January 11th, 2021. That's over, 2.5 years ago now. So I'm excited to kind of talk about where he started and where he is now, and obviously the plans for the future. But today we have DeepPocketMonster, Pat Flynn. Hey, Pat, how you doing?
What's up, John? Great to be back. And wow, I didn't realize it was January of 2021, which was like a month after the channel started. And it was all like, why are you doing this? Who are you? Like, what are your goals? And, 2.5 years later, like a lot of things have happened, like you said. But I also want to congratulate you because I was a big fan of the show in the old days, and then it stopped, and I was very sad about that. So to have you come back and come back strong, and the quality's better, the way that you interview has been amazing. I've been a fan of the show now, so I appreciate you having me back on. And, as a podcaster for now over 13 years myself, typically when you get to episode 7, that decides whether or not it's something that you're going to continue moving forward with, or typically pod fade happens after episode 7, and to be here for episode 8, I mean, sounds like this is gonna be around for a while, and I appreciate you having me on.
Wow, perfect timing. It's just getting started for me. I mean, I hopped right back into it after being, taking a break for so long. It's felt right, it's felt comfortable, but also I feel like there's a lot more that I can do with this now. I mean, the quality and stuff that I'm using now is a lot of thanks to you. Of course, I picked your brain a lot in that first episode. I listened to it again last night just to take some notes and bring up some things, but it's still so relevant to today, being 2.5 years old, with all the information you shared as far as podcasting and content, and even the collecting that we talked about together and goals that we both had. So a lot of thanks to you for the improvement here. A lot of thanks to Squeaks as well, who actually introduced me to this one when we were this Riverside FM, which is what I'm using to record now. There's so many different softwares out there, but yeah, like you said, you started the channel. Actually, again, I went and looked at all this detail. November 24th of 2020 is when you created DeepPocketMonster. I don't know when your first video was. Do you?
Yeah, it was December, so it was a couple of weeks later, and it was sort of just the introductory video that sort of made a splash in the space with a lot of high-end cinematography, and I brought out the crane and the super zoom camera and all this stuff just to kind of show everybody, like, hey, we're going to try something a little different here. Where I thought it was going to go back then is definitely not where it ended up now, but always trying to bring something different is kind of the name of the game for me.
Well, it's... You say that, but there's a lot that you stayed true to with what you started with, and there's still a lot of similarities. And again, what we talked about 2 years ago, you're sticking to that storytelling. You're sticking to what you saw being a missing piece, a gap in Pokemon content. You stuck with. Of course, you've evolved, and it's gone incredible for you. I mean, you had 600 and some subs, I think, when I had you on the first time. And now you're at 660,000, taking the Pokemon YouTube world by storm. I mean, you've hit trending on YouTube, which is that a first for you? Because
that was a first.
Because you've done YouTube, like you said, you've done podcasts for 13 years successfully, I might add, but trending. So that was a first. What did that feel like? So
this was the video where I filmed the site completion video, completing Evolving Skies in 48 hours. And this is in Hawaii at the Hawaii PopCon. And that video, we put a lot of time and effort into the storytelling and bringing other people who are in the community there to be a part of the story. And the next day we saw that it was number 3 in trending overall in YouTube, which was just absolutely bonkers. I mean, that's that's you know, I was honored, I was stoked about it, but also in the end, it really didn't change anything, right? It's like people expected that, oh, you're at the top, like everybody in the world's going to watch this video now. But the truth is, like, everybody in the world got fed that video onto their home page, but not a lot of those people ended up clicking on it, because why would they care that a person completed a set of Pokemon in 48 hours? And, you know, we did our best to have an intriguing title and thumbnail to go along with it. But interestingly enough, because we're really hardcore in the data on our channel, like that tanked our click-through rates because it was now getting fed to a lot of people who didn't care about it. So in fact, and they say, YouTube says, like, hey, that's okay. We separate the lower click-through rates there from your normal audience, so it shouldn't affect the video. The video still continued to do well, but honestly, it's like, it was just a nice bonus, but I don't care if our videos get on trending or not. We want to create the best videos for the target audience, which are people who are into collecting Pokemon. And in the beginning of the channel in 2020, it was largely inspired by, okay, let's, you know, there's a lot of people talking about prices and market and stuff. So we injected a lot of that into the content. And now it's not even about the market at all. We don't mention any prices. And sometimes it's not even about the cards. It's about the story around them. One of my most successful videos in 2022 was a Pokemon trick shot video where we were literally throwing energy cards into bowls and clothespins and stuff, kind of Dude Perfect style. And that video turned into sort of a viral series that now is a series that incorporates my son as sort of like the villain in the story, because whoever wins the challenge gets to keep my Charizard, and, you know, it just goes back and forth. So it's interesting. We've attracted a pretty amazingly family-friendly audience, which is pretty cool. And I think we got to meet a lot of those people and fans at Card Party. And that was neat to just see who it is that's watching the videos. And it's not the investor, it's not the serious collector even. It's the families who just enjoy it for fun, just like I do in my videos. Yeah,
I mean, you. I guess that's a great way to implement your child, make him the villain to your content.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But you had a section of trick shots or card throwing at Card Party, so there's a piece that carried on through your event here. I mean, you did. That's kind of where you shifted, right? You started with this collection journey where you were telling the story about the cards you were collecting. If you want to switch your camera, actually, before we started, you were showing me what you had there. These were some of the ones that you were really, really excited to pick up. And you talked about the pricing. You talked about the investment side of it, but you stayed true to the storytelling aspect of how you got them, who you got them from, why you bought them.
Yeah.
I think you got that Mario Pikachu set for $600.
Yeah, the whole set, including the regulars, for 600. Yeah. And I think I just saw that the Mario here sold for like 8K or something, which is ridiculous by itself. So like, I got really lucky. Honestly, I would love to say that I knew this was going to happen. I didn't know any of this stuff was going to happen. All I knew is I wanted to get the cards that I loved and have fun doing it. And now the shift in the focus of the content on DPM has become less about here's why I picked up this card and why I love it so much, versus let's just have fun and play and experiment. And everything from videos that are more Mythbuster style to see if I could shake a slab enough to, you know, start to damage the card on the inside so we could finally answer that question, to let's just see if we can complete these sets in a ridiculous amount of time and see what happens. And the cool thing that I've noticed about why people love the videos so much now is because they can relate to them. Yeah. A lot of reasons why people don't like or enjoy a lot of the content out there is because, oh, somebody's showing this really expensive card that they're never ever going to have the ability to afford. It's cool, it's exciting, but that particular crowd is not related to that video or can relate to that video as much as somebody who's just like, yeah, I got a bunch of energy cards at home. Maybe I can do something fun with my kids with them and build a table out of them or whatever. And that's pretty cool that I can kind of fill in that gap in the market for just kind of general entertainment. And the cool thing is it's taken, you know, I've been able to convert people who aren't even that into Pokemon. In fact, at Card Party, my favorite comment at Card Party were the parents who came to chaperone their kids, who then exited the event saying that they are now into Pokemon and spent way too much money at the event on cards, and mostly that they could bond with their kids now. Like they actually now have a common language as a result of coming to Card Party, which is really cool. Which is, I think, what happens when those families watch the the videos together too.
Yeah, card party was, and we'll really get into it. Was a big breath of fresh air for
Thank you.
Pokemon events in the last few years. So it's really like all these different. I want to understand these, I guess, moments of change or these light bulb ideas. Like, when did they come to be? What happened to get to this point? Because I mean, you mentioned that you don't care so much about getting on trending. You want your videos, your content to reach the people you're trying to reach. But in the last year, really 2 years, Pokemon has become a greater piece of YouTube. It's not this niche, small piece of content anymore. People aren't PokeTubers in the space. We used to refer to ourselves as PokeTubers. We're full-on YouTubers now. We got millions of subscribers. You're on the trending page. You're doing so much more with the content than just opening and PSA returns and the classic what has worked and will probably always work, but it's really starting to grow into its own space and make a shift in the content world. And I think you're honestly a pioneer of it with bringing in really the what seems so complicated, but the simplicity of using higher quality cameras and using real I don't know what the terms are, but real video shooting, photography, cinematography, and even I guess like editing processes that are very standard in the world of content creation. So you've pioneered that into Pokemon. You've started to create a shift in the trend. More people are obviously coming into the YouTube space, coming into the content world to create something different in Pokemon. So during this evolution of your Pokemon content, because you've done other content, investment content, what in your eyes was that like light bulb, or maybe there's a couple moments, what were those moments that you saw that clicked with you that led to these evolutions of, pun intended, these evolutions of content creation?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few things. I mean, number one, again, and I'll mention this probably several times throughout the conversation today, was analytics and data and really reading what the signals were saying about our content, right? So, we started to notice that, for example, with the mystery boxes, I mean, this was a very common format of video for Pokemon, which was buy a mystery box, open it up, see what's inside. And we started to do those, and they, we tried to do them, as well as we could and tell a good story around them. And there were some things that made those videos evolve even better. For example, the first one we did, it was a lot of setup in the beginning, just like, hey guys, in this video, I'm going to do this and this. And it was like a minute of talking before we actually got into the thing. We noticed in our data that a lot of people were just skipping to the end when all the stuff was finally starting to be opened. So we then said, okay, well, in our next video, like, let's skip the introduction. Let's just go right into it. And maybe I can talk while the thing is being opened. And that video did better. But we noticed at the end of that video that after the last final piece of that mystery box was opened, everybody left. And then there was another 2 minutes of me talking and kind of, rambling. Well, what if in the next video, we just introduce it like we did in this one, because that worked. But then we just kind of like open the final thing and then the video's done. Like, let's do all the talking that we were going to do right before that final reveal. And so now that video did better. And then that video performed better. And as a result of that, those videos feed into our other videos. So now they all kind of like rise together. But then over time, we started to notice that everybody was doing these mystery box videos. So they all started to like blend into each other. And there were only so many things we could do to make a mystery box video interesting. One thing that we did was, I had this theory. I was like, okay, maybe the more money I spend on a mystery box video, the more interesting it would be. So I spent $5,000 on a mystery box. And the interesting thing about this one was it was purchased from a former world champion, or a couple world champions actually, who had a lot of material, Pokemon cards and collection pieces that normal people wouldn't have, right? These are players who had collected these staff cards and some other collectibles that were only for players, really. And so I opened this box and, we set it up just like the other mystery box videos. and it just did really poorly because I was so excited about all the things that were in there. We actually put all those things on the thumbnail because we thought that would be attractive to people, but it just bombed. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it is not true that the more money you spend on a video, the better it will perform. There's other aspects here. So we spent months trying to change the title, change the thumbnail. We tried to make it more mysterious. And then eventually 6 months later, we ended up with a title that was "This Mystery Box Left Me Speechless." We didn't have any sort of signals on the thumbnail that included all the cool things that were in there. We just made it so curiosity driven that you kind of had to click to see what was inside. And then seriously, 2 days later, it just skyrocketed. Even though it was like 6 months old, it finally took off. And that taught me a lot about thumbnails and titles. And it had us as a crew really deep dive into the world of titles and thumbnails. And that's one of the shames about YouTube. It's like, your video success relies so much on your title and thumbnail. If it's long form video, if it's shorts, it's different. Your success on shorts relies on the first literal second of your video. But in long form, you could have the best video in the world. If it's not a great title and thumbnail, it's never going to get clicked on. It's never going to get pushed out by YouTube. So we dove into the world of titles and thumbnails, so much so that I pay $20,000 a year to be in a YouTube mastermind group with people who are associated with some of the top YouTubers in the world, so that I can learn more about that, like just those specific things. And it's been by far some of the best ROI that I've ever had with anything I've ever spent, because you learn these things. And what I do now is like try to pass a lot of that forward. I share a lot of what I learned from those kinds of places. Like I had a YouTube workshop with Dan, my producer, at Card Party to just teach this community. Because if we can all create better content, I think that just makes the entire space better. There's no reason for me to keep that a secret. So anyway, that was just one example, the mystery box, into sort of like what the importance is of YouTube titles and thumbnails are. Yeah. And you know, you felt that too as a creator as well, I'm sure.
Well, it very specifically, very similar to that. I mean, again, I've never really been very consistent with this, and I haven't put in a lot of that time and effort to truly do it the right way. But I had a first edition base set Charizard opening sitting on YouTube for years. And it, you know, got a couple thousand views or something like that when I first posted it, and it died. It just stopped. As it sat there again for, I think at the point, a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I was hanging out playing like Call of Duty with Lootbox TV. If you remember them, they used to do Pokemon.
I do remember.
They're mostly sports now. But John, he was like, dude, you have this sweet video. You need to do this, this, and this. And change up the tags, change up the title, change up this. Overnight, 50K views. And then over the course of like a week, it hit 150,000. And it's still sitting at that. I could probably change it up again and reinvigorate a new bump in views. But yeah, he used, I think, vidIQ or something at the time, which I was going to ask what tools do you use for it, but you're at the level of mastermind classes now. Yeah, it's unbelievable how you could just repurpose, I guess not repurpose content, but go back to old content, change up titles, change up thumbnails, and really grow your channel that way. I mean, it's so easy to just post something and let it sit there forever and never touch it again. You know, that's something that a lot of people don't know about the YouTube space, and with content creating being so popular now with Pokemon, I think it's really important to educate people so that we do have good content coming out. I missed that part of Card Party. I meant to be there, but I don't know what happened. There's always something happening.
I mean, there was always something going on for sure. And again, we'll get into that later. Another thing that reminded me of was one of our mystery box videos. We opened up the box and inside was a binder. And we noticed that this was a giant spike in our retention graph. Like, people came back to rewatch just the opening of the particular binder portion of that mystery box video. So we then started to go, oh, that's interesting. Like, people love the binder. What if we had videos of just like binders? So we looked up on eBay, like, okay, can we buy binders? And it's like, okay, well, these are just like master sets. People aren't going to be really interested in just like watching me open a master set. What if we bought somebody else's binder? And it was not just like random crap that people put into like a giveaway mystery box, but like literal what a person spent time and money on to collect. What if I purchased one of those and we opened that? So I purchased somebody's collection for a couple $1,000s, and it was a couple binders. And this video just outperformed every other mystery box video that we ever did. And it made sense because every card in there mattered to somebody and likely mattered to a person watching. And it was really interesting also to see how they organized the binder. There was some curiosity and mystery there. What was in the front of the binder? What was in the back? How was it organized? Like, here's all the Charizards, or here's all the fire types, here's all the grass types, etc. That was really interesting. And so we now have a series where we buy a person's collection, and I sort of like blind purchase it. So there's also some mystery in there. It's like, did I get my money's worth? Did I not? Like, I see a few pieces just so I know it's not, you know, so that at least there's something interesting in there. Right. But then I don't know everything that I'm purchasing. So it's a mystery to me, and the reactions are genuine like a person watching would have. And then at the end of the video, the reason to stick around to the end for retention purposes is I flash then the price that I paid, and then everybody can judge me whether or not I did a good job or not, or got a deal. And this has been really neat because, and this flywheel is now happening, right? So what happens, what that means is it's something that almost self-perpetuates itself. So initially I spent money on this binder, and then I record a video and share it. And then the money generated from that video ends up paying for that binder, for the most part, usually, unless the video doesn't do as well. But maybe now with the prices that I'm paying for these collections, maybe not quite, but it paid for it, which is like, this is wild. Like, I should give away these cards because I basically got this binder for free, which then brings a lot of attention to my live streams where I give these away. We often have 2,500 to 3,000 people watching live. And, you know, we do these random giveaways with a wheel, and that brings a lot of like Pat's really giving to the community. And then, you know, it's like, great, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the other ones. And then they, you know, that money comes in and I buy another collection, and then it just kind of levels up. And then I give away those things, and the ad revenue comes in, and then I buy another collection. And now all these collections that I have, which are all different, you know, perpetuate the other videos. So a person watches the latest one, but then they go binge watch all the other collections I've got. And not all of them have been wins either. Like I remember purchasing a big one where it was like 7 binders, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be like eye candy for everybody watching. And 2 of the binders were all literal just energy cards, full of energy cards, like vintage energy cards, but still energy cards. And I was like a little bit duped there, but and that was, you know, fun for the audience to watch. And in fact, a lot of the audience enjoys when things go wrong or things aren't going as planned, which we've noticed as well. Yeah. So there's that. And then really the biggest change was, you know, we started to have the same kinds of videos, and we're always looking to experiment. And one day Dan and I were just like, what would be something super challenging for you to do that might almost be impossible? It's like, whoa, like completing a set in 24 hours. Like that's like I guess it could be done, but I don't think anybody's ever done that before. So we just tried it. We tried it with Brilliant Stars, and I ran around for like 24 hours all around the city, going to different card shops, trading with random people on Facebook who are local. And we just put this story together. And this Brilliant Stars video now has, I think, nearly 10 million views after it was put together because, and it was amazing because it was so fun to film that I knew while we were filming it, that if we edited it correctly, it would be so fun to watch. And
they are. And they are.
Thank you.
Like I don't consume that much content anymore. And when it comes to Pokemon content, even, you know, most of it, like you said, it's family friendly, it's kid oriented. So it doesn't really catch my eye that well. And I've seen the pack openings a million times, but
yeah,
I've watched your binder collections challenges, and I watch them all the way through because I'm engaged the whole time. I have my college roommate from Michigan State a long time ago. He's watched them. Like, he always stays up to date and like supports me and stuff, but he's watched your videos end to end, where he'll send me like short little clips of Rev or Lee or whoever, just to like, you know, poke at me for, you know, something about Pokemon. But it's really true how the way that you put them together. It's truly enjoying, or it's very enjoyable to watch, even for me, a 30-year-old man who sees Pokemon every day. So
I appreciate that a lot, you know, and on the other side, there's people who find that video on their feed and they watch it and they're like, I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't even know anything about Pokemon, but I was intrigued all the way to the end.
That's
and
what my roommate. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
And that speaks to, again, the importance of just unveiling a story, and you know, there's an art to that, and it's something that we haven't mastered, but we're trying to. And we've got a lot of inspiration from other YouTubers. In fact, a lot of the way our content is framed is inspired by other content creators. There's a lot of Ryan Trahan inspiration inside of our videos. So the way he tells stories is very, you know, he's self-deprecating often. He's goofy, but he's like out in public. And then we started watching Ryan Trahan, and we're like, what's so interesting about these videos? It's like you never know what's going to happen next or who he's going to talk to next. When you're watching a pack opening, you kind of know what's going to happen. I mean, you don't know necessarily what cards are in there, but everybody else is doing the same kind of video. Right. But when I put myself in a public situation like that, which is not comfortable for me to do, by the way, I'm a complete introvert. And before I go into a card store to do some trading or anything, I'm literally sweating in the car. Like, why do I put myself in this situation? But that also tells me that when I go and do this, it's going to be real reactions. It's going to be interesting. And, you know, I think that's why a lot of people don't create videos like this, because it's not easy. It's not just I sit down and open. I'm going into a place and I have no idea who's there. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know what the trades are going to be, if there is even going to be a trade. Yeah. And the piecing together of the story happens after I film everything. That's when the magic happens. I have multiple cameras when I'm out, and it's usually just me. I don't have like a camera crew or anything. I have like a hero cam on my chest. I have a switch pod with one camera and a switch pod with another to get a wide view. And I'm just kind of, you know, just filming everything, trying to get as many angles as possible. And the magic happens after everything is filmed. And I go, okay, what was interesting about what just happened? Oh, there was this like giant dude who I was like freaked out about because he looked like he could crush me with his hands, who ended up helping out. Let's feature that guy. And so in that video, one of the videos I did, there was this ginormous dude trading Pokemon with everybody. And I was like, man, this guy does not look like he trades Pokemon. So, okay, let's lean into that in this story. Let's actually like call him out a few times in the voiceover, and actually let's lean into it even more. Like, I was scared of this guy, and like bring him up every once in a while. And then finally it's my time to trade with him, and I'm scared. And it's like all this lead up to it. And he ends up becoming like this cuddly bear who's so helpful. And that's like one way that we kind of play into the story and can create that arc, and then have like a climax, even in the middle of a video, kind of like a story within a story. And that's how we can engage and keep
creating
people.
Characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why we don't come out with a video every week, let alone every day. Because
you're not doing every week? How often?
We're not even doing every week. Honestly, in June of 2023, we came out with one video. Wow. Just one. And on the surface, many people go, well, that's not best YouTube practice. You should be consistent. But at the same time, I'm not going to just create a video to stay consistent in exchange for what could be a better video. I don't want to sacrifice quality and storytelling for just trying to get on a schedule. And I wish I could be on a schedule. I wish I was Rev and could pump out a video every day, but I can't. And Pokemon's not my full-time thing. And that would be very difficult to do with the style of videos that we do. So we want, when a video comes out, this is the way we think about it. Like, imagine it's at night and a DPM video drops, although we would never publish a video at night. It's usually in the morning. But let's just say it's just for the hypothetical here. A video drops at night. A person has a decision. They see that notification. Are they going to say, oh, sweet, Pat came out with a new video, I'll watch it in the morning, which in most cases they will never do. Or, oh, snap, Pat came out with a new video. Dang, I was about to go to bed, but okay, let's get on the couch. Let's watch this thing. Let's like drop everything I was doing to watch this. That's the effect that we want with the videos. And that's why we don't come out with videos every single week.
Yeah, I think I need to change my podcast to morning or day, because I have it premiere late at night. But I just recorded with Twice Baked Jake, who will come out the week before you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I found out that he has zero schedule. He just posts when he can post. And he's got 123,000 subs. He's been very successful with it. It's his hobby. He's having fun with it. But he has no stress in his life to care to post on a consistent schedule. And it works out for him. Like, you don't have to follow the book for this to work. you know, it's very easy to tell when someone's enjoying it or when someone's burnt out. And all
Oh,
that.
for sure.
So,
And I got to meet him. You got to meet him at Card Party as well, which was super. I didn't even know he would come out. Like I was so surprised.
I thought he was like made up. I didn't think he'd been outside. he was impossible to get a hold of until Card Party. He just lives his life, man. He works a normal job. He was getting his master's for a little bit, his MBA, and I think he's finally finished all that, and he's getting married and has a house and all this stuff. So he's gone through all these major life things, and I think he finally has some free time to enjoy the fruits of his labor and maybe meet his fan base. And I'm hoping he gets heavier into Pokemon, but it seems like he's just content and happy, which is really, really cool. So I'm excited for that one to come out because he's never been on a podcast. No one knows anything about him other than the videos he posts. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we associate him with the waifu boom. That's all that he's known for right now. But no, I enjoy Jake, and to see him at Card Party was just such a cool thing, and to see how just real he was and friendly, and like just like you said, he was just smiling the whole time. It was awesome. So I'm excited to listen to that. I will definitely listen to that for sure. I mean, all the creators blew me away.
I don't know how you did. Well, okay, I'm not shocked. Here I am saying I don't know how you did it. I know how you did it. How you got everybody there. You created an incredible event. You put together the most exciting, outside of Worlds being in Japan. I think that's impossible to beat Pokemon wise. But you created the most exciting event of 2023. Cards, period. Whether it's Pokemon, Weiss, Naruto, whatever. Naruto doesn't even have anything. I just love Naruto. But like, I guess Konami and all that, Bandai. So again, this was obviously something that was in the works for a long time. This isn't even a full-time thing for you. Like you said, Pokemon's not a full-time thing for you, yet you're going out there, putting in all this work and effort and money investment to put on a huge event that brought everybody that we never thought we'd see in the same room, everybody in the Pokemon world together in one place. When you're crazy
somehow.
What? Why?
I thought it was crazy that an event like this didn't exist. Honestly, when I came into the space, I was like, these people are amazing. I watch them every day online. Like, I can't wait to meet them in person. And I was like, I was just so surprised that nothing like this exists, because in the business world where I come from, these kinds of events are where we all get together finally after being friends online for so long. And that's like our reunion every year is these business events that go on. And I was just so surprised.
You're a speaker pretty frequently at these types of events, right? Have you done the VidCons? Have you done the YouTube, the content type cons? Have you done that stuff?
I have been to several YouTube events. I have not been to VidCon as a creator, but I've been an attendee there. So I'm very, very familiar with that. Everything from Comic-Con. And then the card space, when I started getting into the card stuff, I went to events, and I was just surprised that it was just literally a giant room with vendors, which is cool. Like I could add to my collection there with like maybe a small stage with like one thing happening during the day, and that's it. Or if the creators or any sort of celebrities were there, you had to pay to get access to them, or, you know, stand in line for a very long time and then get an autograph, and then it's like snap a photo and then, okay, move along. Right. I was just like, dude, everybody here is cool. Like I feel like this is missing. And I was like, okay, if nobody's going to do this, like, I guess I could do it. Cause number one, I know I have event experience, both as an attendee, a speaker, and like planner, creator of an event. Like I put on events before. And then secondly, I was just like, if I know that if we can get just all the right people in the room, magic will happen. All the other activities and everything like that is just going to be a bonus. And I knew that this space needed it. After Card Party, I found out that I didn't know how much the community needed it. Like, I had so many people who came up and said, I didn't know how much I needed this event for my life right now. Which was just so rewarding to hear. But the way that it was structured was, first of all, I just wanted to create the event that I would want to attend, really, as a parent and as a Pokemon creator.
For your fans.
And for the fans, and that's what we did. So this is why And also, I mean, there's so much to talk about this. Like,
Yes.
all the experience that I had from my business world, from speaking and putting on events there, like those are super organized events, like very well run, well-oiled machines, but in general, they're boring, right? Yeah. So if I can combine the organization of that and the structure of those with the excited community of Pokemon and all the fun things that happen there, let's marry the two and see what happens. And nobody had ever done that before. And to hear people like Gem and Pokemon come up to me, who goes to dozens of events every year, say this is the most fun he's ever had an event ever. Yeah. It's just like, I was like, okay, I think we're onto something here. This was an experiment, and the experiment went really well.
Yeah, every time someone started or tried to start a Pokemon event, they would throw Pokemon in the name, and it would get shut down.
Oh well, and I knew not to do that.
Yeah, and PokeCon or whatever they wanted to call it, but it was always with the intent to be a card show, and because I think they was more comfortable with understanding that would work and people would go and everyone knows what it is. So that's what's been being built over the past few years, is more card shows, which is great. Mm-hmm. They're fun to go to. You can transact. You can meet random celebrities. I don't care about, but they're so repetitive now, and it's only that. It's transactional, which again, fun. I like collecting. I like buying. I like selling.
Yeah.
It's my life. But
like a parent bringing a kid to that, they're not going to have as much fun because the cards, which is what that event is for, is not as meaningful to them as the community or the creators. And that's why the creators were specifically the one thing I wanted to make sure was a major component of this. And I have you and so like everybody else who came as a creator to thank, because the event would not be what it was without you there. And this event is not, I know we're talking about me and I'm the creator of the event, but this is not about me. This is about you guys and the creator. And I'm just one of several of you. And this is why everybody from, at the top tier, we got Rev and Unlisted Leaf and Real Breaking Nate and Leonhardt and all those people. Like, of course, they're headliners, and those are, those are going to attract people and bring people in. But I said, you know what? I want to make sure all the creators who are coming are talked about and featured and feel recognized. Because when I'm coming up as a creator in any space, I just want to know that I'm recognized, that you see me and that I'm there and I have something to contribute. Even though I'm not as big, I can contribute. And I wanted to make sure that all the creators were there. That's why you see like everybody from PokeSurge to Powder TCG and, all those people who have just hundreds of subs or just thousands versus the millions. They're on the same website and we're in the same rooms too. Yeah. And I had so many of the smaller creators say, this is the first time I've been at an event where I felt like I was important. Yeah. And that was very purposeful. And that was strategic. As a byproduct of that, I also knew that although Rev is a big audience and Leonhardt and everybody else who came at the top, that they were going to bring people in. I also knew that the smaller creators would be more likely to be the ones shouting from the rooftops about this event. And that's exactly what they did, because again, they were recognized. And so I have the smaller creators to thank for selling a lot of the tickets, because it is their fans and their loyal audience, despite small, together become a big force. And that was really cool to see play out. What I didn't expect were all the creators, especially the big ones, to be so involved in being in the audience and just being a part of the event. We had a space set up called the hospitality room, which you know about, which was like for the creators specifically to escape to if they were to get mobbed or just want to break or want to walk away and just kind of take a breath. I went in there several times to just be like, say hi. And every time I went in there, it was usually empty because y'all were out there. Like Danny Phantom was trading for 5 hours on the floor one night with all the kids who were there. Rev had a 5-hour meet and greet line, which was way beyond what we expected him to do. Like, we asked if he wanted to like take a break. He's like, no, I want to make sure everybody here in line gets my time. And it's just like Leonhardt was just walking around talking to people and taking pictures. Like, and he didn't have to do that. Like, you guys made the event what it was, and it's about the experience beyond the cards. The cards is just the thing that we all have in common.
Right.
But it's it's all those relationships that can happen around them that I wanted to make sure
you're going to need a super VIP room just for Rev, because he was getting bombarded in the VIP room by other creators.
Yeah, that was one thing we learned. I mean, especially especially as the event continues to grow, we definitely want to make sure that the creators are protected and feel safe, and so some additional handlers for the higher tier creators is going to be important. But at the same time, I also don't want it to turn into a red velvet rope behind the table situation either. And I was very explicit with the audience, and I was like, if like, please, audience, respect these creators because they're here for you. But if we mob them and if we make them feel unsafe, it's going to turn into every other event. So yeah.
And no, I mean, Nick wouldn't want that either. You know, I'm in this weird spot where I've built great relationships with almost everybody in this space, right? So I'm very close to the Nick and the Lee and the Real Breaking Nate and the big guys, and I'm really close with the smaller guys and mid tier guys. And I guess myself, I'm a small tier creator myself. So, you know, recognizing and seeing that there was opportunity for everybody at this event, it was very, very strategic. I don't know if you meant to do all of it, but you did a lot more than what I expected it to be. I mean, it was first and foremost a great event for these big creators to finally go out and meet their fans. They're all introverts. They're all reclusive. Making content
that was something that I learned too. Yeah.
Consistently, right? They're stuck at their home making content all the time. So they hardly ever get out. So creating a safe space, a fun space for them to meet their fans was huge. I mean, Nick loved it. Cool Trainer Ryan, he had a blast. I thought he was going to have like little freakouts, but he had so much fun. And then the smaller tier creators, you created this opportunity for them to connect with these bigger creators and have that opportunity to do a quick collab or pick their brain or talk to them. And then I guess for me, my type of creator, I had the opportunity to talk to some businesses. I still need to do my actually put some work into it and reach out to them, but where I could get sponsors for the podcast, get sponsors for the content or whatever it might be. And then again, you did have the card show aspect, which is important. That's why we're all here. Like you said, we are all here for the cards, and that's what got us here. And then from there, you had, I think the most important thing that made this event such a success, again, was the type of crowd. This was the kids. These card events, they're for the adults, they're for grown-ups who are spending money, and it just has this atmosphere of, you know, who can be the quickest to get a deal, where can you take advantage of something. And this was so just wholesome and fun and clearly made for the kids. And it
was made for the kid in all of us, whether we're adults or kids.
There you go. Yeah,
that's why it's a party.
The energy,
not a con.
It's a party. There you go. The energy in the crowd every morning when you walked up to that stage, which incredible job, by the way. I had no idea. I had a little bit of an idea that you could do the speaking thing, but the energy that you evoked into the crowd and how they reciprocated, it was just like, it was incredible. It was a great morning to wake up to.
Thank you.
It was so much fun to go into that room and just feel the energy. It felt like old times for me, for both as a kid, but also old times when I first got into the hobby, where I was just enjoying it. There was no like $100,000 cards. I wasn't worried about making a little bit of money to pay for the trip. I was there enjoying it and had so much fun with all my friends there. I mean, that's a big piece of it. I knew so many people there that helped out a lot. So, and hopefully the people who didn't know met a lot of new friends or met a lot of new people. So
it definitely exceeded my expectations for how it turned out. Right. Yeah. We're lucky that, nothing crazy or dramatic happened. I mean, there were a lot of things that we wish we had done differently. There was
I think a kid got poked in the eye during the Snorlax time, but
there was,
he was fine.
a kid got poked in the eye. One person was bleeding, and then another person. Yeah, remember the punch a bunch game that happened on stage? One kid who punched a hole in the thing. So the game from Price is Right where you punch the paper and there's like a prize inside. He didn't aim very well, and he scraped his arm and was bleeding pretty profusely, but thankfully didn't make a big deal about it. But he was fine. We took care of him. There was a first edition Team Rocket box that was left out and then stolen or misplaced in the vendor area, which we did everything we could to handle that and filed the police report, all the stuff. And in the end, we found out that it was mostly just that person not being as safe with it as possible. It wasn't like stolen from a vendor. He had bought it, but then it left it out. And then, you shouldn't do that. But we still try to help him out. And so, again, it's still something that perhaps could have been avoided if we had more precautions in place. So, we'll talk about that for next year.
It won't be perfect. It can't be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, but all that being said, like, we were able to sell 300 tickets with no date or venue for next year yet. Like, people already have added a vote of confidence for next year and the fact that they wanted to go. And the cool thing was that there were like families who connected who didn't even know each other before Card Party, who said that they're going to take the trip together next year and like stay in contact with each other. I've had people who were introverted who said they were very afraid to come to an event like this, who said they've met like new friends and people who are now going to be a part of their family, sort of, and stay in contact with each other, which is great. The vendors, it being more family centered, I was worried that like, okay, the vendors might not see as much, volume as they're used to seeing at some of these other events that are specifically for collectors and people spending money. We had vendors tell us that they had never sold as much product as they did at Card Party before, which was super cool to hear and very surprising to me, actually. We had sponsors take a chance on us. That was a big thing. A lot of sponsors were there. Everybody from eBay to CGC and Heritage Auctions and several others who took a chance on us because, again, first year event, very different than the card shows they're used to. And we've had several sponsors come back to us and say, whatever you do for year two, let us know because we want to be a part of it. And some of them saying that they've never gotten this much continuous exposure, because another part of my master plan was this: the fact that I knew creators were coming to this event, and if I could feature them and make them the hero of the story, I mean, these are creators. They're going to film at this event. Yeah. They're going to be at Heritage Auctions showing the trophy cards. They're going to be at these different sponsor booths filming. And so we are now, even a month later, seeing content drip out about Card Party as people have edited their videos and finally have had time to fashion that story. So now there's this continuous flow of Card Party chatter happening. And thankfully it's all positive because, I also knew that, and we've seen events happen in the past before that other people have created where, maybe it didn't go as well or as planned, and the creators will amplify that.
Because it gets views and people love to talk some smack about that stuff. So
yeah. So thankfully it's been mostly positive, and Vault had a really good recap video. Chloe just came out with hers. I think Island Grown has one coming out. And it's cool because I get to relive the event through their eyes. I think Ando's coming out with one soon. But honestly, my favorite ones are like there are a few creators who literally have just hundreds of subs who were like the quickest to come out with their Card Party videos. Like even at Card Party, editing in their hotel room, coming out, and it's just like, and they're there with their kid, and to tell the story from their perspective is really cool. I'm excited to have hopefully started something that will become the event that we could all look forward to every year. It's not my event; it's our event.
If these sponsors are smart, they'll try to lock in a multi-year contract with you, because I do really think that. Obviously, you have to figure out how to make it profitable. I'm sure you were. It
was not profitable in year one.
In the hole quite a bit on an event like that. I think, there's such huge opportunity for sponsors at this event because, yeah, because of that reason, the stickiness of the event itself and how long the event lasts even after it ends. So
Right.
I think
I try to make it a win for everybody. That's how I like to do business, is like, if we're going to do something together, I want it to be a win on both sides, or all the sides. And so for the creators specifically, like, I felt like I was asking so much of the creators, but I knew that connecting with the fans would be important, that being in the same room as their colleagues would be important. You had mentioned that a few times. Just being around friends is of value to you. Yeah. But having the sponsors there and the creators there, like you were hinting at, is of value. And so we had a couple meetings, creators, we had a few Zoom meetings leading into Card Party, which you might remember. I remember you attended those. Yeah. And on those, it was more, here's what to expect, here's what's going to happen. But on one of them, I said, here are the sponsors that are coming. Like, I'm not going to hold your hand and take you to their booth and create a deal for you, but they're there. So please use this opportunity to fashion deals with them, like get them to know you, build relationships with them, because they are looking for creators like you. And it was cool to see already some of those deals being, happening. And again, by just putting those people in the same room together, and with a little bit of nudging, I could hopefully provide even more value to you in that regard.
Yeah, no, that was huge leading up to it. I wish I had the podcast rolling during, because I would have been more proactive. That would have been perfect, and been able to show them some numbers and all that. Because I ended up doing it literally a week, maybe 2 after the event, because it was all in. I was scheming it up. It was ready to come back, but it wasn't out yet. So I sat down and talked with some people, but I didn't really have anything to show them. So. But that's fine. I mean, I just want to build this up as much as possible anyway, and see where it can take me. And I mean, even going back to the last podcast I had you on with, I'm going to be getting Patreon started again. I mean, that was a big thing that you advised me to do, and there's obviously value there for ad-free, for early access, eventually extra content. If I ever want to really get into some conversations with my guests that I want to keep over there. So, it's a slow game. It's a slow game, and there's so many different opportunities to take advantage of it. But yeah, you did a really good job of prepping us. I mean, that made me, honestly, that was a big light bulb for me when you brought that up in those Zoom meetings. It's like, oh, okay, I need to be doing this. This is a real opportunity. No one else is really doing this. So I have a shot here. I mean, one thing I started doing, which I wanted to gatekeep this because I don't know how much competition there is right now, but the last podcast I actually started doing Google Ads with. And I don't think anybody in Pokemon is really utilizing it. I'm sure it's difficult to get a placement with the word Pokemon in there, but $5 a day so far, and I've gotten like an extra 600 views. So as long as I can like figure it out, play around with it, learn a little bit more, like there's an opportunity with Google Ads, with placing ads for my podcast to help grow it.
It's not uncommon for a little bit of investment to go back into the video, which then supports the advertiser who may want to sponsor that video. And you can, again, create this flywheel where some of the money from the advertiser goes into pushing into this video, not for artificial views, for literal views. Which then adds value back to the advertiser, and they continue to stay on. So I like that you're doing that. I don't think I've ever heard. I definitely have not heard of anybody in the Pokemon space doing that. And so you're using Google AdWords, right, to push ads into your YouTube videos on YouTube itself, right?
Is it still Google AdWords? I think
it's Google. Well, maybe it's changed, but
I think it's changed. Unless there's
you're
two
doing
different
it,
ones
so
now.
better than I do right now.
Well, I haven't taken enough time to actually. I used to do Google AdWords stuff in college, but now it's just Google Ads. I think they got rid of AdWords. Okay. Maybe it's an extra thing. I got to figure it out still, but yeah, I'm curious to see how that can impact a channel like mine, podcast wise, to see some growth, because I just don't think anyone's doing it. So
that's great. I love it.
Yeah. But so the one thing, and at Card Party, I think the first day you sat down next to me, and as you did with most of the creators, you wanted feedback from us at the end of it. You're like, really take your time this week to this weekend to look around what's going on, what worked, what doesn't, because I want to know how to improve this thing. And I said to you, I think you're good, but the one thing I'm worried about are the panels. I don't know if you remember that. There was a lot going on that weekend for you, but the panels are always a very difficult thing to crack. I'm sure it might be the same outside of the Pokemon events, but every time there's a panel at whatever con, no one's watching. No one cares. And that was the one thing that was, I sat on 2 panels. I subbed in for one, but sat in on 2 panels, and yeah, it was a little weak. So
yeah, I heard the same feedback.
If you can figure out how to crack the code with panels at these events, which honestly, I think it relies a lot on whoever you put in the panel to push it and get their own fans there. Because like, you know, you don't want to be hand holding everybody in every part of this event. Otherwise you won't be able to do what you need to do. But the panels is something that if you can crack, if you can really figure out what works for that, then more creators will feel like they're special, feel more engaged and all that. Because
we talked about this. We've talked about this actually. So we have this thing in business called a post-mortem, which is a terrible term. But it's after an event happens, you talk about it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the panels came up for sure because they were definitely underattended compared to a lot of other things. And then also some of the panels, we didn't express enough to the creators there about what we expected and what was exactly going to happen. So that's where we fell short a little bit. But we have talked about and have come up with solutions that we want to experiment with for Gen 2 to have those panels more attended. Because like you said, a lot of it is going to be based on the creator who's there and also where they are. We actually had a few successful panels that were actually on the activity floor in the main hall because people were there already. Right. And to be able to sort of pay attention to what was going on there amongst everything else versus a separate room, which was like, you know, you had to commit to that, you know, particular time slot to be able to go to those things. Right. Maybe the panels specifically happen there. But another thing that supported a couple of those panels were the fact that there were some interesting things being opened and also given away during those panels. So now there's even more incentive. And if the cards, again, are the thing that bring people in, but then the conversation around those cards are the bonus that people get out of it, well, then it might be a perfect situation. So again, we'll think about that for sure. And there's also other things, like a lot of people didn't even know those panels were happening because there was no like pamphlet or schedule. Right. It was more of they were on the online schedule, but you had to scan a QR code to know what was going on. And you know, there's a lot of learnings from year one for sure. Yeah.
I think that's something that I might be able to help you out with, just being able to pick, again, when it comes to panels too, putting the right people together is a very important thing. I sat on, I think I was the very first panel. It was like the future of collecting, investment panel. And to be candid, I didn't feel like it was the right group of people. So it did not intrigue a lot of people to come sit and listen. So, but it was right after the intro of the morning, right? You did the big intro and nothing was said after the intro. So everyone was like, all right, event is starting. Let's all rush out, go to the card show, enjoy all the side events. And so everybody left the panel room as the first one was starting. So there was, information, number one, getting people out there or a list or an announcement that this is happening. Yeah. And then the second panel I was on, which was a little reckless. It was fun. It was the explicit panel with Cool Trader Ryan and Ryan, and J-Love, I think was there too. J-Love. That was hysterical. I don't know if that's ever going to make it out on YouTube, but I don't know if it should get out there. But
yeah, there's a funny story about that one in particular. You know, Opossum Bud was supposed to come as well, and you know, CTR and a few others are known for being a little bit more, you know, just open with their thoughts, if you will.
That's a good way to put it.
You know, at a family-friendly show, I had one of two choices. One, you know, not invite these people, which was not going to be fair. Or two, invite them. But I also didn't want to say, hey, don't be yourself. Like,
Yeah.
can you just, for the sake of, like, I don't want you to be you here. That wouldn't
Right.
be fair either.
Right.
Thankfully, Ryan and everybody else who a person might expect to be pretty crazy at the event were like absolute angels. Like Ryan, especially, like went around and just gave away so much stuff to people and was just so cool with all the kids and everything. And you know, he was great. I mean, like blew me away with how generous he was with his time and also like all that he gave away. So I was like, okay, well, what if for these particular people, we create a space where they can literally just be themselves, like no holds bar, they can just be them. And that's what that explicit panel was to be. And then Opossum had to, you know, he's in service, so he had to go out and do his thing, so he wasn't able to come, but it was just still marked as that. And then
yeah, thank you, Opossum, for. I mean, he did. I don't think he knew, but I took his spot just to
yeah,
fill up the chair.
Yeah, so honestly, I hadn't even seen that panel or watched the replay of that yet. But like what happened and, you know, anything I can learn from that situation?
You know, I'm not entirely sure if the parents who brought their kids in there were aware of what was going to happen, but I hope they were, because definitely
earmuffs like as you walk in, I guess.
Definitely some earmuffs needed for that one, at least to start. We kept it very controlled, but yeah.
Well, Ryan lost his voice too, which maybe helped a little bit.
That helped a little bit. No, but Ryan, no, see, the thing with Ryan, and you know, I get a lot of flack because of the place that I'm at. You know, I'm working at Rare Candy with Lee, and I'm friends with Lee, but I've also been very long time friends with Ryan, and you know, there's that internet beef that people like to talk about, but Ryan's a sweetheart. You just got to get to know him, which is tough to do. He is a, you know, when you're friends with him, he's a loyal friend, and he's very generous. Like I've told this story before, but I was with him and Nick in Jersey, just hanging out, going around the shops, looking for stuff. And we were at a GameStop, and this kid just randomly came up to Ryan. No idea who he was. He didn't know who Nick was either, but he was just like, "Hey, I like this Nintendo Switch game. Like, it's really cool. I hope I can get it." And Ryan just bought it for him. And he actually picked up a second game and just bought it for him. No questions asked. His parents were shocked, like so thankful. And he just, you know, just generously bought this game for this kid because he saw the excitement and happiness that, like, of how much he wanted this game. So
that's cool. You
know, it's you know, he has a hard outside that it's hard to get through, but like that one character you built in your video, he's a cuddly little bear once you get to know him. So exposing the true Ryan out there in the world.
We had a lot of people reach out, or I had a lot of people reach out to me specifically to say, how are you even comfortable bringing Ryan into this event that you also know Leonhardt's at? Yeah. So I obviously didn't just brush that off. I went and made sure that nothing was going to happen. And I did my due diligence, and I talked to Ryan, talked to Nick, talked to Leonhardt, made sure everybody was comfortable and okay. And everything was fine, right? Yeah. They weren't like, they didn't come and go, we'll just put it up. Like, they weren't like hugging each other at the event or anything, but nothing happened. Right. And I think that in a sad kind of way, people were hoping something would happen, but no. I you know, I even talked to Ryan, and he was like, this is going to be an important event that will serve the community. I would not ever dare potentially mess that up for you or for anybody there. Yeah. And I really appreciated that he said that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd say to his face, like, he's got to chill out a little bit. He goes a little too hard sometimes. So yeah, I don't fully agree with what he does. Ryan, if you're watching, calm down a little bit, bro. But yeah, other than the panels, back to what this started with, other than the panels, it was so incredibly done. You know, I mean, the panels were done well. Again, it's just like fine. It's just a difficult aspect to figure out for these types of events.
And I appreciate that feedback. We'll make it better.
Yeah. And well, I'm excited because I hope to be at the next one, which, you know, I felt very well taken care of. I felt special. I'm very entitled at this point, unfortunately, with these types of events. I hate waiting in lines and all that. And you helped me avoid that. So thank you so much. I hope we can continue that sorry to everybody who had to wait in lines. But
I mean, there were other events where there were a lot of lines, and my team and I, a big focus for us was just, let's not have people wait longer than they have to. Like, let's just have that value as we come into this. And we made sure that everything ran smoothly. We did training with the registration staff several times to go as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of elements to this, from the badges to the, merch that people purchased to, other things that were happening. Like, we had these cards designed for people who came to the event, and like 9 in total that you could go and collect by going around and doing different activities, which was a major success. That was another experiment that was at Card Party, was these collectible cards.
Yeah, I missed out on a few, but yeah.
That's right. I might be able to hook you up. I know a guy. But that was an experiment. And the cool thing was, like, we had members of the community design those cards, right? Just to kind of celebrate the artists and the art piece of Pokemon, which is often underserved. My big vision early was like, let's get Arita here to teach a workshop on how to draw a Pokemon. And we're just like, okay, we can't get Arita, but what can we do that would be equally as awesome? It's like, hey, let's get Pokemon Breaks to design a card. Let's get Pokemon to design a card, and Control Alt Bob and all these other creators, Gavin from Full Metal Energy, to just be a part of this and recognize them for that, because those are talents that they have that a lot of people don't even know they have. So let's celebrate that.
I mean, you probably have the connection, but I can help out with making that happen maybe in the future with Arita or some other.
That would
artist.
Be cool. That would be an amazing thing.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
Honestly, it's funny because we're talking about Arita, who's a big celebrity, and a lot of people had come to me after the event and they were like, "Hey, Pat, I also know this celebrity, this voiceover actor, this people, like let's bring them all to Card Party." And then me and Dan were just like, I don't know if we want to do that. Like, I love these celebrities. I appreciate them. But, like, what's their collection look like? Are they actually into the cards? Like, would they actually... Is this the kind of event we want to create where now it's just like, okay, we got to charge $50 for an autograph and, like, take a picture? Or I would much rather focus time, attention, and money on an upcoming creator who's a member of our community. No offense to any of these other celebrities, but, like, they have plenty of events to go to. Yeah. These other creators who are up and comers, let's recognize them. I mean, out of this event, there's just been so many new creators to come about, and they're likely going to be celebrated in some way next year. So I don't know how people feel about that, but we don't
stay different.
Need the celebrities. Yeah,
you don't create your own celebrities. There you go. That's what.
Right. Yeah. I love that. That's actually a perfect way to put it. We want to create the celebrities. We don't necessarily need to, have Post Malone sing or rap in order for the event to be great. The event could be great without Post Malone. No offense, Post Malone.
Sorry, Post, you're out.
Magic the Gathering's awesome.
So you is this? Do you foresee this becoming a full-time thing for you? I know you're big. Again, you're known for smart passive income. We've been going for a long time here. So if anyone's listening, Pat's known for smart passive income. That's kind of your claim to fame.
That's my other brand, yeah.
You as the name is passive income, you build and create things that have a flow of revenue that you don't have to really involve too much time in so much. So is Pokemon another arm of passive income you want to get to, or is it something that, I mean, to get to that point, is it going to be a full-time project for you to get there? How does that work in your head?
It is not the same as some of the other businesses that I've created. I've invented something called the Switch Pod with my videographer that's on Amazon right now. We gave a whole bunch away to creators at Card Party, by the way. Yeah. I don't know if you nabbed one or not, but
I missed out on that.
This was an invention. It's a tripod. It opens, closes quickly, makes it easy to travel with, super light, etc. And we built it in 2019. We launched it on Kickstarter, made $500,000 in 60 days, and it's now for sale on Amazon. I don't spend more than 1 hour a month on that thing, and it still continues to sell. That's a very passive business now. That nothing starts passive, but it's a lot of active involvement to then turn it into something a little bit more passive. And that's just one example of several things that are out there on the internet working for me, from an architecture business that I set up in 2008. That was my first foray into building an online business, was an exam prep study guide that helps architects pass a very particular exam, and that's still making a few $1,000s a month. Even
Wow.
I haven't touched it for 6 years, and it's still making money. But
And your
this
security
is
guard one?
my security guard. I sold that business.
Or you sold
actually.
that one? That's right.
I sold it. Yeah. You know, I have a bunch of irons in the fire, but this is a different kind of fire. It feels like this is not just fire; it's grass, water, psychic, everything. That was
Nice.
dumb. I'm sorry, but
That was a great transition.
This feels more. Honestly, it's just more fun.
Well,
And,
you started it because of your kids, right? You got into Pokemon.
Yeah, and they're
kids.
still involved. In fact, they're getting more involved. They're on payroll now for my business as a result of
Nice.
helping out with the channel, which
Nice.
has some tax saving implications, but it's mostly like,
Of course.
we're having so much fun together. We're creating memories, not just for our
Yeah.
family, but for every other family out there who wants to be involved with DeepPocketMonster. And it would be silly of me for not want to continue to stay like actively involved in that.
Is
That
it your
being
most
said-
active thing?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's purposeful. That's because I want to stay active in it. And I can't imagine a world where I walk away completely from it ever. I'm always going to be creating.
Yeah.
However, there are opportunities that I see as an entrepreneur where I could create revenue in certain ways that would serve the audience, but not necessarily be, you know, something that I would have to be super involved with. Like if I partnered with a company to create a product, a physical product, they could ship it. They could, you know,
Yeah.
they can work on the customer service. Like they're the business. I just push people toward there. That's passive income.
Right.
But, you know, I've had a lot of opportunities to do that already. And I also know that I could, as quickly as DPM has risen, I could quickly fall if I go down the wrong track, meaning I could make it all about the money now. I could push people toward maybe superior, sub par products just to make a buck. And now my reputation's ruined because I'm just in it for the money. The money for me is always going to be a byproduct of how well I can serve the audience. That's a mantra that I've always had in my other business, and it will continue to remain truthful in the world of DeepPocketMonster. My earnings and my growth and my whatever you want to call it will be an earning, will be a byproduct of how well I serve this audience. And so this is why, especially at the beginning life of DPM, it's all in on serving the community. This is why this event is here. It's because I want to serve the community. And I know that the universe will have its way to reward everybody involved who helped put this together in some way, shape, or form, myself included. And in that way, everybody, again, in the end will win, I hope. And that's what I want to believe in. I believe in a world of abundance where we're not at a poker table where if I'm winning, that means you're losing. Mm-hmm. We're at a different kind of table where we can all win together. And it's something special we got going on here, and I want to keep it going. Yeah.
Is it, I mean, I don't know if you're open to sharing, but is it something that you would look for investors in the future with? The card party or DeepPocketMonster as a whole?
Potentially. I don't think we would need investors. I don't, maybe I'm not thinking big enough yet, where I would need investors to come in to support something financial that I can't quite yet support right now, but maybe. I'm open to things, but I'm also cognizant that I don't also want this to take over my life in a way that takes me away from my family or my other obligations, or I want to go fishing a lot, like all those kinds of things are important to me too. But I definitely can see it growing, and where investments or investors might get involved is if somebody came to me the other day, was like, Pat, you have this amazing audience and they listen to you. Like, you could create your own TCG at this point if I wanted to. And I'm like, that's a wild idea. Like, I don't to compete with Pokemon. No. Like, just like you're so creative. You can invent something that would be interesting, that could be collector related and involve people. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that, but I could. And if I do, I can see getting other people involved, but I don't think I want to create another TCG.
I like a creator collector card set.
What, aren't there some Weiss sets where it's like the YouTubers
Allen and Ginter, MLB Allen and Ginter. They come out with this set every year, and they slide in celebrities. They've had even sport card collectors in there, and they get their own card.
You just want your own card design. That's what
I want a one of one black PokemonRadar logo.
That's hilarious.
But think about it. I mean, with how big the space is getting, how many creators are out here now, and I mean, collectors like Gemmit Pokemon. I mean, he started a podcast recently as well. But
yeah,
there's enough out there where you could create a collectible card set.
I could,
and it'd be cool. I mean, again, this is
if I'm doing it just for the money, though, it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't be yeah. I don't think it would be for the money. How many people would actually want a PokemonRadar card?
I mean, depends on how it looks. I mean,
but yeah, I mean, something like that, which is very community centric, very honestly, for all the people you're getting to Card Party, it could be another incentive for more creators to get on board. And
Card Party is my thing right now. Card Party is my focus. Yeah. That's the product right now.
That's the product is Card Party.
I think for right now, that's what I want to focus on. I can't imagine taking investors, but at the same time, I also don't want it to be an event that happens 8 times a year, and now it's diluted.
Right.
I just want everybody to go, that's the event that I want to go to every year. That's the one. Maybe twice a year, I don't know, but I personally wouldn't be able to handle more than that. And maybe it does become something that maybe I'm not the MC and host and the one running like I did this time, other events. Maybe there's an East Coast one, and like, you know, Rev is the MC and host and the one like behind everything. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but I personally, somebody came to me after the event and was like, Pat, you got to do this like 4 times a year, once per quarter. And I was like, I would die if I did that, because it took me like 3 weeks to recover from this one. So
yeah, I think keeping it I mean, Pokemon Worlds, eventually that's going to be the only event I go to.
Are you going this year?
Yes, I'm going to Japan in 2 weeks.
I'll see you there, bro.
Oh, you'll be there? Yes.
I will be there. I'll be there for a week around the event, but yeah,
I'll be there.
I just got denied my I had double whammy today. I did not get my Pokemon Cafe reservation in time, and I also did not get the lotto for one of the events that I had put my lotto name in for. So I was kind of bummed about that.
Nothing on spectator badge and nothing on all the events. So it might just be
I don't know anybody who's gotten anything. So
yeah, I might just be going to Japan and not experiencing this event at all. We'll see what happens.
Well, at least we can have a coffee or something together while we're there.
Yeah, I am going to enjoy Tokyo a few days before, 5 or 6 days before. I'm going to go meet with my old CEO actually at the first job I had out of college.
Oh, no shot. That's cool.
It was a Japanese company, and he's out there again. So I'm going to get to see him, which will be cool. And then, Yokohama, and then home. So
that's cool.
That's really exciting. Are you taking your kids with you?
No. Although a part of the way I was able to escape, if you will, is that this is reconnaissance. This is a scouting trip for me to then bring the family later. So that's how I positioned it.
What a way to sell it.
My wife's not going to watch this podcast, so it's all good. No, she knows that. She knows, but it makes sense because we've never been to Japan, and like if I could go and at least know how to get around, then when we bring the kids, it should be a little easier. Although what I hear is that's what I hear. That's
super easy.
That's what I hear. So yeah, Worlds is great, but like Card Party again, like the other thing is like with all the hype around it right now and how like great it went for the first year, like we could sell a ton of tickets right now and just go all out and get a convention center and just go big, like 10,000 people. And we could probably do it, but I don't want to do it that way. Right. In fact, that would be too much growth too fast. And it could easily just turn into all the other events from here, which is why we're probably going to limit the amount of attendees. It'll be bigger, but to a point, it'll be too much to handle for year 2. And we also are limiting our options for where it could be, because we don't want it in a giant convention hall where then everybody has to drive there and then drives home after, or to a hotel later and then gets split up. Like there were so many people who said their favorite part was just being at the hotel around everybody, even after the event was done.
That's such a big benefit.
Right. So we're going to find a place that allows like that to still remain.
And Disney's also the other big benefit. Just go to every Disney around the world. That's the
Disney Tokyo. Maybe
Yeah,
one year. I don't know. Maybe there's a card party cruise one day. I don't know.
On the Disney card party cruise. There you go.
Oh, Disney cruise would be
that'd be pretty epic.
A lot of money.
Yeah. So, again, this whole thing started because of your kids. You've got your kids involved now. I'm asking this question a lot, but what's it like to be a dad in this space, especially? I mean, your kids are at the age where they are very well aware of your impact, and I'm sure their friends know who you are because of this. And what's that whole dynamic like? Because like Nick, his kids are a little too young still. Some of my other friends who I've had on, Catch 'em All, Dan, his kids are still a little bit too young. But not to take any shots at you, but are you 40 now?
I'm 40. Yeah, I'm 40. The old man. I've been told I'm the stepdad of the community now. Apparently, like that's my positioning, and I'll take it. I'll take it.
You're the Pedro Pascal of.
Oh, dude, I'll take that for sure. I happily take that. You can call me Poppy, DeepPocketMonster. That's so weird.
Because I just turned 30. I think what's the saying? You try a bunch of stuff in your 20s. You do what you love in your 30s. You reap the benefits in your 40s. So you've hit that milestone of 40. You're doing what you love. You've had a lot of success grinding like crazy in your 30s, and now you're able to spend a lot of time with your kids, who I think you said they're 12, 13 and
13 and 10 now.
13
My son
and
is
10.
13. I picked him up from surf camp earlier, and it's just like we're at the age where we can just drop him off and he's hanging out with his friends. And like I'm very grateful that I've positioned everything that I've done ever since 2008 in a way where that is the main focus, because now they're at the point where they're not wanting to be around mommy and daddy as much. So, I cherish every moment that I can with them. And the fact that we're working together is awesome. Mm-hmm. It is interesting because they're at the age at school now where their friends watch DeepPocketMonster. And like, even my son came back from school a couple of days. He was like, Dad, can you sign these cards for my friends? And I was like, okay. Like Nick's going to get a ton of that.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got, 3 kids now.
Yeah.
Who are each going to be in different classrooms with different students who like are obviously going to know who he is, which is hilarious. But no, it's been really great. I've always done what I could to be very upfront with my kids about what I do. Like even before the Pokemon thing, like if I was going to go speak at an event, like my kids were like 5, 7 years old at this point. I would go to them and say, hey, I'm going to be gone for the next week. I remember when my dad would leave on on business trips. He was just like, okay, bye. Like I had no idea why he left or what he was going to do. Yeah. And for me, I wanted to take the opposite approach. Like, hey, I'm going to go speak at this event. Here's who's going to be there. And here's what I'm going to be talking about. And the reason why I'm deciding to go to this is because I could help a lot of people. And this is what I'm hoping happens. And I'll be back on the other side of that. And we'll have some fun or go to Disneyland or whatever. But I always wanted them to know why I was going. And it was cool because over time you start to see them understanding and putting those pieces together of the impact that I'm making by going out. And it's like, it's not like, oh no, like dad's leaving us. It's like, oh, he's going to help more people, and to lead by example in that way and take them in on that journey with me is really great. And then there was one time in 2017, I keynoted a podcast movement in Philadelphia. Fun fact, the team who puts together Podcast Movement is the same team who put together Card Party. Like I've become friends with those guys.
That's awesome.
So I was doing the keynote at this event and I brought my son with me, and he actually came on stage with me to talk and to, because we started a podcast together
really?
At the time. Yeah. Okay. All of your beeswax. Because how people say like none of your beeswax, like, but it was actually all like us just talking about everything that was going on. And like his voice is so tiny and it was like such a different era of his life. But
how do you do on stage?
Oh, he did great. He did great because he saw me do it first, and he sees me do it first. He's known that I've done this, and he's just like, he has the courage to do it because he sees me doing it too. So I love that. And now he's at school and he's doing presentations at school, like the way that I do presentations, where it's not bullet points, it's just an image, and then he's just talking. Right. And so it's more engaging, and his teachers are like, what? Where are you getting this from? So it's really neat to see that kind of bleed into what he's doing. But at the same time, I mean, I've got 5 summers left with him, before he's 18. He's
Gosh.
doing whatever he wants to do, whether he chooses to go to college or not. And so it's up to him. But we want to prep him for life and to be a good citizen and to just serve his community in the best way possible. And, you know, we feel like we've set him up for success. And our daughter too, who's a performer as well. She's a dancer and a piano player. So it's been really neat because they're at the age where they saw this literally start from scratch. They were there when I had 0 subs, and to see now at Card Party, they were at Card Party on Saturday, and they were number 1, 2, and 3, my wife included, in the world record. They sat up front, and they were PAX 1, 2, and 3 for the world record.
Okay. Are they bigger fans of you or Nick?
Oh, the others for sure. They see me every day. But it was cool to have them see not just like, oh, this is me on camera doing this. It's like, here are the people who are at home in their various parts of the world watching, who are now here, who spent money to come to Card Party, who are having a great time. And it's cool because I know that they can take that with them moving forward in some way and learn from that. So
I mean, that's kind of depressing putting that number on it. 5 more summers. There's that one viral clip about like, I visit home twice a year. My dad's 70, so I get to see him 14 more times or whatever the average is.
Geez.
It's sad to put that number on there, but very important to be aware of that. You know, I think that's super cool to be able to experience life like this. It's rare. I mean, it seems very common in this space because the friends that I'm having on the podcast, more of us are working from home full time doing Pokemon. But in reality, it's a very rare thing to be able to spend this type of time with your family as they grow up. So figuring out ways to get to that point and teaching people is very important. I mean, again, people can go back and listen to the old podcast, but you know, you were an architect, got laid off in 2008, had nothing. Your wife was pregnant with your first kid and had no insurance. And it was, you moved back in with your parents, crazy, like just stressful things happening. And you figured it out. And here you are doing amazing things and now enjoying so many great moments with your family, so many great moments with your kids.
And you know what?
It's so cool.
And I've enjoyed every moment leading up to this point too. That's the other thing. It's like, yes, I have X summers left, but that also means like this summer matters and this summer matters and this summer matters. Yeah. And to be able to, you know, structure life in a way where it's like, okay, I want to make sure that my wife and I both are able to drop off our kids to school and pick them up every day. Like it's been a blessing. So for anybody listening who might be going through some hard times, you know, in 2008, when I got let go, I thought the world was ending for me. It was very difficult, but it ended up over time becoming the biggest blessing that I could have ever asked for. It also forced me to take bolder actions to help me get bigger results. I could have been a comfortable architect and I, you know, would have been living my life, but I would not have known what happiness and freedom is like if it wasn't for having to be first let go. You know, it's interesting because we often talk about, you know, the chain that keeps us into our job or often, but it wasn't a chain. It was me holding on to that ladder, like fist clenched because I couldn't imagine anything else. And growth only happened when I let go of that. And a lot of times it's us doing it to ourselves. So, you know, I've shared that story many times on podcasts in the business world, and it seems to resonate because I think we've all gone through an example of something like that, where we think something's going to be a certain way and then everything just changes and we don't really know what to do next. And hopefully you can see that it actually creates more opportunity for you. You're at a point now in your life, everybody, where you're literally writing your story right now, and it's up to you to decide how you want those chapters to end.
Yeah, it's a lot of us go through some pretty serious stuff. And I mean, the latest quote that I heard that I really love was, you know, learning to love what you wish most didn't happen to you. And like coming to terms with that moment in your life where you wish that didn't happen is so important, because I mean, I wouldn't be here. I don't want to be living the life I'm living, enjoying every day doing something Pokemon related, and have the friends that I have now in this space, and without literally that worst thing in my life happening to me. And I could go back at any time and say, oh, I wish that didn't happen. I wish it was different. I'm getting to the point now where I don't like that. That terrible moment is what led me to that growth, led me to be here. And it's incredible what life can bring you, especially when you dive into Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, it's so silly that, you know, on the outside, for people who don't know about Pokemon, they're like, really? Like, this is something worthwhile for you to like talk about and collect and spend money on? Like, this is kind of ridiculous. And it's true on the outside, but when you're here and you see the people who are here and the people who step up to help each other, and yeah, we have drama here and there's like, you know, haters or whatever, but deep down and in reality, it's like, we have a common language and we can all get behind it, but really we're all people, we're all humans, and we just want to belong. And it just so happens that we landed on Pokemon to feel a sense of belonging. And I feel like that's where I belong now. And it is amazing because I feel like I was able to earn my way into there. I just, you know, I remember when I first got into the space, everybody was so welcoming, by the way, especially Rev. And, you know, there was a little history there where he had actually listened to my other podcast way back in the day, which is such a crazy coincidence. But I got an email probably in January of 2021, like right as I started, that said, it was from the email address fakepocketmonster.com. And it was a person who was like, hey, I'm a member of the community. I'm here to look out for everybody. And I'm just calling you out. You're a scammer. You're fake. You're just making all this stuff up. You don't actually do these giveaways like you do. And I was like, wow. Like, first of all, I was just like, whoa, where's this coming from? Like, this is crazy. Obviously a gatekeeper, but at the same time, I had to empathize with them and go, yeah, I could see how you could see that. I could absolutely see how you could see that. Like, you're just trying to protect the community. Like, that's amazing. But I also have receipts of everything. And so I was not worried at all. They were like, as long as I know that I'm being authentic and truthful, I literally have nothing to worry about. And if I make a mistake, I'm going to own up to it. I'm not going to hide anything. So there was nothing to worry about. And I actually replied with a spreadsheet of every giveaway, who it was to, how much it was costing, everything. And I sent an email back and I was like, okay, well, like, you can tell these people that I'm fake who actually received everything if you'd like. And he was just like, well, I'm going to keep an eye out on you. And then I just blocked him, like, just get out of my house. Yeah. So I haven't heard anything really from said person or something like that since then. But, you know, I also know that this community is very sensitive, but also for the right reasons. We're trying to protect each other and protect the space. So if I were to make a mistake or do something that was out of line, like, I'm expecting the community to call me out. I hope they do, so that I can course correct from there. And that's really important to me. This is something that was very important to me in my other business, because in the world of entrepreneurship, it can be very, very easy to get persuaded by the money opportunities that are there. And I had a couple friends back in 2009, 2010, who were my closest friends, who were all building businesses with me together, each of us building our separate businesses. And they're not friends with me anymore. I ended those relationships because when they found success, one with a software, another one with a coaching business, they weren't the same people anymore. They were all about the money. They were starting to get into some gray hat tactics to promote their products. And I just was like, I don't want to, this isn't you guys. Like, you don't need to do that. And they kept doing it anyway. So I know how fame and recognition in a way can change people. And so for like a call to action to all of you watching or listening to this is, if you see me going down a direction I shouldn't, like, I hope that you'll call me out on it, because sometimes we don't even know we're going down that route when all this stuff is happening as we're growing. Now, thankfully, I have years of experience growing businesses, and I know what to look out for, and I know what the signals are. But that doesn't mean I'll always catch it. So, you know, John, I hope you'll call me out when you see something, maybe. And that will benefit everybody, because I'm here to serve. And if I'm not doing it correctly, I need to be told.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's very important to be held accountable and have the right people around you. You know, I fell into that too.
You can't read the label when you're inside the bottle.
Yeah, I've had an ego my whole life growing up, and you know, I talk about a lot of how I chased so many shiny things during this Pokemon craze that it led to me ending the podcast, the thing that I loved most and the thing that brought me the most opportunity. And you know, I had someone like Squeaks around to call me out, and you know, thankfully he's still around to do that. You know, that's a relationship, that's a friendship that could have been ended because I was on the other end of getting too big of a head and doing stupid things. But you know, he was always there, still is. So it's really important to surround yourself with the right people. And
your net worth is actually your network.
Your network,
or your network is your net worth, or whatever that phrase is. Or the other ones, like you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Like, so surround yourself with good people. Yeah.
All these cliches, they're
cliches for a reason.
They're cliches for a reason. Exactly. Well, Pat, I can't thank you enough for giving me the time to come on the podcast again. 600K or 600 to 600K. Hopefully next time. I'm sure maybe before that, but 6 million. I hope you know, you're on the road to 1 million first. Let's get there.
Yeah, one step at a time.
But again, fantastic job with Card Party. I'm excited for next year. I haven't bought a ticket yet, but I will. And then everything else you're doing. I mean, you know, live streams and the continued storytelling and binder collections, which we didn't touch on that at all. I don't know if I owe you money for that one at Card Party. I went a little crazy.
No, you're good, dude. That video's still in the works, by the way. Okay. It's just like, just so everybody knows, like the binder set completion videos have been obviously a major success, like we talked about. And so the idea was at Card Party, let's do a team up where I can't do it all alone because it's my event. So let's tag team other creators who are there to help me fill in the binder. And you kind of went a different route than most of the other creators who were involved with that, and picked up a very expensive card in a slab, mind you, that now I'm trying to decide, do I crack this thing? Like, what do I do with it?
I was hoping to crack it out myself, but ran out of time.
Oh, really? I mean, I think we keep it the way it is and just have like a note in there and just be like, this is John's doing, or something. But that video, which was, I was supposed to complete that set in the 2 days, like it would be impossible. Like the timing was bad because Team Up has just gone ridiculous now with the prices and everything, and there was hardly any product there to from that particular set to do it. So we're reframing the story, but still making it challenging, and yeah. So I appreciate you remembering that. But no, that was good. I love that.
Yeah. Well, best of luck completing that video, and again, thank you so much for doing what you have for the community. We've seen a lot of people come in here and just take, and you've given a lot. So
thank you.
It means a lot to me, to the other old heads of the Pokemon community, to see someone gain so much success in this space, but again, give back so much. So
thank you.
Looking forward
I appreciate that.
to everything else you're doing. Card Party 2nd edition, Card Party 2,
Gen 2,
Gen 2.
Gold versus silver instead of red versus blue. Like, we're going all out with it. It's gonna be sick.
Love it. Well, best of luck, and
thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.